Hey guys, Dark Humility here. You can always catch me at www.twitch.tv/Dark Humility for variety Diablo 2 content. 6 to 7 days a week. We are going to be playing Season 3 Hardcore PD2, likely solo self-found, so catch us doing that soon. And of course, for the D2R beta and for D2R. Today, we have a crazy build for you guys. This is the last new build of the season that I am showcasing. This is the Throw Barbarian. He is a solid S tier build when it comes to map clearing, being firmly in the overpowered category. He's also known as Rambo Barb, Machine Gun Barbie, and of course he also goes by Heavy Weapons Guy. So let's check him out. He is monsters, he just clears a screen with no problems and even has very few mobility issues if you use Frenzy. Let's talk about how this build works, and of course we're going to demo him in some maps as well. So yeah, go over the brass tacks to begin with though. So yeah, we're going to go over the stats, the skills, the gear, and we're going to do his demos and his best maps here in a moment. And we're going to do all those in order. Yeah, let's go over it. I'm doing 11k throw at maximum right now. We only have 84% magic find, but that's okay because the rest of his stats are crazy. Absolutely bonkers. No problems whatsoever. It's just a pretty nutty build. But yeah, we can go over all that here in a second. Let's see here. Alright, sweet. Okay. So we got all the stats there on the screen. Alright, let's check them out. So, Barbarian is broken. Extremely broken. His damage here, he doesn't even have his Might Aura right now. We have 9,000 damage. I have my Might Aura on me. We have a firm 11,000 damage. Strongest weapon. Now that might not sound like a ton, but because of the way this ability works, it's a ton. And of course, with stronger weapons, you can do way more. But in general, I put enough strength in to wear my gear. I put enough dex in to wear my gear. I don't really have to go beyond that. Since we are playing hardcore, and this is on hardcore live server, this is my hardcore barbarian here. We have a ton of vitality. You don't put anything into energy. That's all we do. So we just put those, max out the strength, max out the dex, wear the gear. That's it. Just to wear the gear, and then the rest of the points go into vitality. And we have max res as well. Hardcore, max res is not as important. And on softcore, sorry. On softcore, it's not as important. And on softcore, you can even justify maybe putting more points into strength, justify higher damage output. But overall, it's pretty crazy in that. Defense is also pretty solid. Get up to 10k defense once we are fully going. But right now, as much as we're getting. Have 2,300 health. Is okay. Res is fine. Stacking them is nice for hardcore, but not required since you're attacking from range. We only have 10% DR. We're attacking from range, we have a decent amount of health, and we have a decent amount of defense. So we should be fine. We just gotta make sure we don't melee mode anything too dangerous. Don't have to, though. Hit recovery, 48% FHR. Well, since you don't have a shield, a decent FHR frame is definitely recommended, so like 48% for sure. And we have 100% Pierce. 100% Pierce. It says we have 122, but that's because of our main hand weapon right now. But the other weapon doesn't have any Pierce at all, so it's at 92 Pierce. So it just depends on the weapon. But we are hitting somewhere between 92% and 122 pierce, so it just depends on what it is. We either have too much or we have just under 100%. That's solid for a build that relies on bounces and where pierce is necessary. You're definitely going to want to get to as close to 100% as possible. Life Leech is crazy. I'd recommend having at least one source of Mana Leech because it does drain your mana. As long as you have some Mana Leech in your build, it's coming from our Soul Drainers in this case, you're fine. And that amount of Life Leech, if we ever take any damage, it's not last long. Max health most of the time. Only have 84% Magic Find, but with maps we are hitting well over 200, so that's we're hitting the max attack speed frame so long as we use the weapon swap bug, where we are making sure this is the priority weapon. So if we reattach this weapon like so, now of course we have our lower damage weapon top, and we have the higher damage weapon as the second weapon. Do that, we're gonna fire a lot faster. I'm noticing that this is a lot faster than this. Right? It's magic.
I need mana.
There you go. Alright. See, we can perform magic in the stream too, right, guys? Alright. I think that's about it for the stats. This monster, well known. By the way, this will be in the PD2 guide section of my YouTube, so there along with everything else, so make sure to check it out there. Alright. All the other guides and everything else. Alright, so skills. Max out double throw, max out double swing. Synergy for damage and double throw. Straightforward. 1 point of frenzy allows us to charge up our run walk speed so that we can gun things down and run at the same pace. It's actually kind of hard to keep up with how fast you kill things on this build, so it's not a bad idea to have that on your left click just to charge and run. Put in 1 point to each of these passive combat masteries. Good on the extra fast run walk. Just get some extra fast run walk. Free natural, free all res. Very good stuff. You want to max out the throwing mastery. Max only do general mastery. This one requires special mastery, which will actually grant us additional pierce in addition to damage and attack rating. By the way, when my mercenary procs his might, I'll show you guys the damage with its current weapons so you can see. It could definitely be way more impressive, but you need very powerful weapons to make that happen. You don't even need them, so. At least not for Season 2. I fully expect this build to be nerfed quite a bit in Season 3. I don't know how much, but now this is how it is. We had to do it at least once because it's just that strong. Had to make a solid attempt at this. At least a solid build. Maybe nothing crazy, but solid build. Battle command and one more skill. I'll have 2 additional skills, and putting points in a battle command is not a bad idea on this build because you are attacking from range. So in a lot of other Barb builds, you stack your points in a battle cry for that negative enemy physical res. But since you're not using this very often, unless you have a really troublesome stone skin monster, you can just put 1 point into that, and for the most part, you just can raise your damage at battle command. I decided to be pretty greedy though, and I put a lot of my points into find item, which I can use and counter elite monster. Double up on finds from them potentially. Get some more godly items potentially. I haven't been using it much before this demo here, but yeah, this is really good. Of course, you can take points out of this, put more into battle command. You can even put a point into Grimoire, but I wouldn't recommend it because usually you're killing things faster than you can use it. When they change it to where you can cast this from range in Season 3, it's going to be a lot better of an idea. What's up, Droopy? How you doing? It's going to be just a lot better in general. Right now, since we can only cast it like when we're literally like right on top of a monster, it's going to be slow and it's not going to be. Alright. That's pretty much it. In general, it's pretty much what you want to do. Max out throw mastery. Get your combat masteries. Max that double swing, max that double throw. You have to put 1 point of frenzy anyway. And then put the rest of the points into like battle command, find item, whatever you want to do in that regard. For hardcore, you can even put more. Yeah, it's definitely gonna be good to enrich. Hardcore, you can even put more points into battle orders if you want. We're being very greedy on this, so that's about it. Let's have Atomic War Monkey. How are we doing? Alright, so without further ado, let's go over the Mercenary. So the Mercenary is going to be our source of 2 auras, Fanaticism and Might. Since it's an Act 5 Mercenary, it's going to have a very powerful Might aura, and it's also going to have Fanaticism. Fanaticism is going to greatly help out our attack speed, our AR, and our damage, and Might's going to help out our damage as well. So, using an Act 5 Mercenary, we have Might. On top of that, we use Beast. Beast is solid. There could be better bases, of course, like Berserker Axe, but those are very hard to find, so especially in hardcore, so using what I can. And I only rolled an 8 in it, but that's okay. That's 10 doesn't really matter too much. Getting that strong Might aura off of him anyway, and of course he's using a bunch of attack speed gear so that he does some damage himself. But it's not super important what you put on him as long as he survives for the most part. And he will, because we're going to be killing the monsters so fast that the Mercenary won't have a chance to die. That is how this build works in general. Definitely a lot of things you could put on him. You can make him tankier if you want, but it's almost not necessary. Alright. Next up we have the main gear loadout. So, there's a lot of things you can chuck at monsters. As you are a machine gun, though, you can even use rubber bullets and the monsters will still die. I like to emphasize this. So, this is a strong weapon, to be fair. This is a very good corruption. But you could have stronger corruptions. You could have a Wraith Flight in more ED. It has ED Deadly Strike, not just Deadly Strike. You can have a crafted weapon. It's like 400% ED on it. You can have all kinds of things. In general, Wraith Flights and crafted weapons with really strong ED and damage will tend to be your best options, but this is a solid weapon. I wouldn't say it's insane by any means. Pretty solid. You really can't say anything bad about it. Yes, Shiora, yes. What's up? How are you? Good, drink some water, it's fine. Alright. Next, for at least most of the demo, I'm probably going to be doing that.
I'll be your best friend in this fuss.
Hey, we have a new follow. Hurry. Thank you so much for the follow. Welcome to the Cult of Xander's Day. We have an ED Deadly Strike Corrupted Lacerator. And that corruption's amazing. Now, Lacerator is going to give us an Amplify Damage proc, which is going to lower their physical resistance by a ton. That's going to make us do a lot more damage to a lot more monsters. But arguably, you could just stick on 2 Wraith Flights. There's also a lot of other things you can use on your weapons. Demon Arc comes to mind, or just a Demon Arc. You can also use Gimmer Shred. Gimmer Shred does a lot of elemental damage, so does this. Since you don't have quantity in Project Diablo 2, you don't have to worry about running out of quantity. So you can use whatever ethereal weapon you want, a non-ethereal weapon you want, and you can just chuck to your heart's content. Just chuck the weapons and problem. So yeah, there's a lot of options. We could have an ethereal lacerator. We could have better lacerators. We're going to use the lacerator and Wraith Flight. We're going to show off a couple of different configurations as we're demoing this build here. And his best maps are in some of his better maps. Of course, also rank his maps, of course, in the description. But yeah, we'll have all that done. And for the most part, just know that there's a lot of weapon configurations you can use. Lowering enemy physical res is never a bad idea for any physical build, though, so an amp proc is amazing. And, of course, this also does a decent amount of damage. Not as much as this, though, by a large margin in terms of the base damage. Fortitude is just straight ED. Res, go a safer approach, could use Shaft Stop. Use a high ED, we're going 200%. GG. Could also use like a 3-socket Materials Might or something, and have a lot of ED that way as well. There's a lot of options here. I also use 2-throw. 2-throw is a pretty common option because 2-throw gives you a lot of deadly strike. Fortitude's good. Chains of Honor, materials, pretty basic stuff. High Lord's also pretty basic, just granting me vitality. Of course, if you got extra skill on the sucker or enhanced damage, even better. It'd be an even better corruption, but it's gonna be hard to beat High Lords on this build. Unless you don't have an amp proc anywhere else. So for instance, I can swap out with Atmas to give myself an amp proc if I swap out the Lacerator, but it's not a huge chance that it procs, so it's arguable whether or not that's even worth it, but it's definitely an option. Crown of Ages, anything like Veil of Steel, Crown of Ages, anything that has like gives you the slots for enhanced damage jewels or just has a lot of enhanced damage on it. Veil of Steel is a really good option. There's other good options that come to mind. Well, yeah, it's pretty beast. Great stuff. Yeah. We have all res, and we have damage reduction on this as well. So at least we have some defensive stats for hardcore. You know, we're playing hardcore here, but you don't have to. You can just go with the full ED options. You can even go with Giant Skull, which has Pierce on it. If you don't want Pierce on your belt, you can go with Giant Skull. So Giant Skull's another option, also has damage. Alright. We have 2 Oaths on swap because they're going to be pre-buffing Heart of the Wolverine. That's our third aura here. It's going to give us a lot of AR and damage. Of course, we also have the Wisp Projector to go along with it. You have to have it here because if you weapon swap without the Wisp Projector, the Wisp goes away. So even if you proc it on your Oaths, you weapon swap out of the Oaths, it goes away. So you got to have the Wisp Projector. We have a perfect enemy, negative physical res, perfect life leech, life corruption, soul drainer. That is a very sick soul drainer. In general, it's gonna be hard to find something that beats soul drainer on this build simply because enemy physical res is so strong. But you could use it. You could even have a pierce corrupted one of these if you don't have a pierce corrupted build. You can have other corruptions that are maybe more useful in other ways. Have enhanced damage as well, or even attack speed. That is what you need. Of course, got that one. And then, of course, what I'm doing to get most of my Pierce is I'm wearing a Pierce Corrupted Razor Tail. So that's doing the trick for me. Like I said, there's lots of Pierce options on this particular build, so make sure to explore them. Definitely want that 90 to 120% Pierce, though. Got an all attribute Ravenfrost. Ravenfrost is getting my cannot be frozen. You don't have to use this though. As a matter of fact, you use like a BK set ring, anything that gives like enhanced damage, so long as you have cannot be frozen somewhere else. Because I don't on this build, I'm just using a random Gore Riders with gold res. That's how it is. We can definitely use the res though. Good stuff in general. Yeah, we have a lot of weapons in general. One thing to note is that when you don't have as crazy of weapons and whatnot on this build, you can just go for not corrupting. The hit power recipe for crafting weapons. So the perfect Sapphire Tur random jewel ethereal weapon. If you get an ethereal elite throwing weapon, you find them on the ground and you craft them early in the game, it's going to be one of your best bets for starting to get going. Whereas before that, you can buy throwing weapons from the vendors, and then you can start crafting them to get them. Of course, I also recommend picking up white throwing weapons early on and viewing them as you progress through the game. And once you get some nice magic ethereal elite throwing weapons, you can craft with them. They have to be magic based, so it has to be blue items. You can make things like this. This is not a very strong weapon, but it shows you that, like, even with a not amazing enhanced damage roll, you can still get something that does like 300 damage. Pretty cool. You can definitely get better things than this, though, and these crafted weapons can be absurd if you get the correct rolls on them and slam them with good slams, like enhanced damage. can also pre-buff with Demon Limb. Demon Limb, of course, will give us some fire damage. Not wholly necessary if you have as much AR as I do, but if you're struggling in the AR department, feel free to use it. It's a pretty cheap option for that. You could use Bloodcraft for Life Leech, but the negative target defense is, especially for kids and bosses, so could be good. Like the negative target defense off the hit power is just real. Soul Drainers with Pierce, yeah. Sick stuff. Alright. And then, of course, we have these suckers. So, maximum damage. Maximum damage is holding up our damage. You could even argue that enhanced damage is maybe more important on this build than on a lot. Giving me like 1,000 damage, just all these max damage terms. So, getting max damage terms can definitely raise your damage even further. The most fundamental way, though, to raise your damage on this build is the weapon. So, the stronger your weapons, the more damage it will do. I got some MF, I got some res. I have a lot of damage, AR, and life, and some other stats. Faster run, faster hit recovery, just things to round out my breaks, as we showed on the stat screen. And of course, a nice Annie and Torch to boot. Alright. So, I think you guys all kind of understand the stats, the skills, and the gear, and what kinds of gear you're probably looking for in this build in general. Negative physical res, Pierce, ED, enhanced damage, and strong weapons in general. Very good for you. Of course, make sure to also get your fundamentals like Horazon. If you're playing hardcore, things like Phys Immunity is possible with reduced curse duration. You can also get reduced curse duration on boots. You can have 100% or near 100% reduced curse duration. So, you can also do that as well. And there's a lot of other ways you can play. But in general, this is a pretty basic build for hardcore that's going to work. And is going to do a ton of damage. Alright. So without further ado, it's time to start demoing his power. So we're going to start with this setup here where I use my stronger Wraithflight and my strong non-Eth Lacerator. But Eth Lacerators are hard to find in general. It's okay. Don't even need it. Don't even need it. Alright, we're gonna start out strong tier 1. What's up, Rob Hill? How you doing? What's up, D2 pilot? Okay. And bam. There we go. Oh wait, no, it's not even correct right now. Alright, we don't even have our Might Aura yet, so keep in mind we don't even have the Might Aura from the Act 5 Barbarian, okay? Don't even have it. And now, have them in the correct order. There you go. Machine Gun Barbarian. This build is absurd! Just gun him down, baby. Just gun him down. Not much you can say. Just imagine if you had way better weapons and all that other stuff. You can almost ask yourself, is it even needed? It's arguable it's not. And once the Mercenary decides to proc his Might Aura, we can show you guys the full measure of our damage here. I know where he's at, though. The Mercenary is like... Dang, that was without fanaticism, too. Okay. Mercenary went for a spelunking trip. Alright. Pretty decent without Might or fanaticism, honestly. Yeah, we gotta show YouTube and Twitch this build at least once this season. It was one of the crazier builds to begin with, and it's not something that I really focused, but as you can see, it's nutty. There's a reason why I termed it the strongest Barb build, and it's because it is. At least for maps. Hey, is Mercenary ever going to proc his might aura? I don't know. It's like he's not getting a chance. We're just killing the monsters too quickly to the point to where he can't even proc his might aura. Sometimes, yeah. Usually, though, he has to, like, encounter monsters to proc it, but... Oh, there he is. He finally procced it. There you go. There you go. 11,000 on the high end. Right, now we have might on top of everything. Whole fields of monsters are just gunned down. Really is not a lot of ability for them to survive. Now if we use Frenzy, of course we can also use Item Find here. I was talking about that earlier. So yeah, I have 53% Item Find, so I can do that as well. Definitely an advantage of playing a Barb. And I don't have my keys on me right now. Darn it! Used to proc on the keys, whatever. Bleeding stuff too fast. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I can hork whatever I want. It's ridiculous. See, we're still hitting almost 200 MF. Now, I could put on word traps if I wanted more MF. Core Riders are pretty awesome, though. They give us a Deadly Strike. Everything we could possibly want. One thing to note is that on softcore, for different purposes, you could also use G-Face. There's other damage options on the helm, and there's other damage options like Goblin Toes. And of course, War Traps, which give you flat damage as well. So what I'm showing you here is definitely not the only way to do it. Feel free to customize or Barb as you choose. Yeah, if I want to, I could just use Item Find and read the map all day. It's crazy. Must have entered a cheat code. Hey, that's what I thought when I started playing the build. Not quite. Looks like I entered a cheat code though. It's true. God mode engaged. Wow. I am almost certain this build is already on the bricking block, but you know, what can you do? Yeah, once I get the frenzy going, bam. I make sure you're attacking at a crazy attack speed. Okay, Horror stuff, you don't even have to use Item Find. See, that's another thing. Totally optional. Wow. See, this is the last Raider approach, so... Oh, wow, Good bugging out. Wow. Yeah, so double Oathir stacking. What the heck? Monster's bugging out, baby. I don't know. Hardcore handwritten. What do you want to know, sir? Ugh. Blech. Alright, here we go. Now we have maximum damage. Easy. Come up. I would say smoke if your res are in the 40s, yeah. Get those res up. Well, you gotta get your FCR up somehow, but I would hold 75 FCR until you can get some better FCR and res solutions like Wizard Spike. It's true, I could get 6 more levels of item find. Instead, I'm getting 16 more levels of Heart of the Wolverine. That is a deliberate choice, though. You can do whatever you want. Lots of options there. They do taste you up, they do. Monsters! Where are the monsters, chat? I can't see any. See no monsters, kill no monsters. I don't even know, man. You're just slicing them up! You really stand no chance. I regret to inform the chat, but this is illegal. This is illegal damage. This is solid S tier damage here. And see, all I gotta do is chuck him. I stand from a range, use Frenzy to power myself up. Use item find, kill an elite if I want to. I could have more damage, I could level up battle command more, I could have stronger weapons. Now one thing I could do here is I can actually swap this out here for Ray Flight. You just use 2 Wraith Flights here. Only problem with using 2 Wraith Flights though is that I'd have to have more attack speed ordinarily. Otherwise my attack speed isn't high enough. You can see though that I can throw whatever I want, really. I can throw whatever I want. Ever I feel like it. Well, he already knows, man. He tested it out on stream and he's like, okay, this is a little busted. Yeah. Yeah, you can see that my attack speed is now a lot slower, but if you got a lot more attack speed on the rest of your gear, you can definitely justify it still. The only weakness of Wraith Flight is it has no attack speed on it, so you can't use a weapon swap bug on it. Because now I have no weapons on me that use the weapon swap bug. It's the only weakness. But, I mean, it's pretty much the same deal, even with slower attack speed. I don't feel as much like a machine gun with this, so at the moment, because I don't have the proper amount of attack speed on the rest of my gear, I'm just gonna swap that back out. Yep. Sweet. There we go. Truth. Truth. Now this thing has attack speed on it too, so I could play it this one too. Another good option, of course, is Demon Arc, which is a weapon I mentioned. Look at that! Okay, please tell me that isn't illegal. Oh my goodness, the machine. It's like we stuck a machine gun up her mouth. This is when. Yeah. The reason why I consider this to be one of the top 5 most powerful builds in Season 2. There's Poison Necros out there, there's Bosons of both the elemental and the physical strike. Of course there's Trapsims. But then we have here the Throw Barb. He's right up there. Right up there with them. See, with the amp proc, kill bosses pretty reliably because of all that negative enemy physical res. So even though Lacerator itself isn't doing a lot of damage, it's paving the way for ridiculous damage with the follow-up. But double Wraith Flight with like both of them having strong ED and strong damage, and getting more attack speed elsewhere is definitely an option. You just don't have as many. Your amp sources are more limited, so it's a bit more hardcore. I'd say he's the Rambo. He's not the Terminator. He's Rambo for sure. He's definitely Rambo. I don't even know if I would consider this as his best tier 1 map. I'd say it probably is because it has narrow corridors. He really likes the narrow corridors when it comes to maps. Because all the monsters are just where he wants them. Lined up in a nice, neat line where he can just pierce through all of them. Slice them up. I'm ready for D2R, yes man. What's up, Pen? How you doing? You're ready up in here. That was a nasty build.
I can already tell that I'll be your best friend in this forsaken.
Like I said, if you use the weapon speed bug, so if you have a weapon that actually has attack speed on it, it works just fine. If you're using 2 Wraith Flights, you actually might want to get attack speed corruptions on them, so that because you're not using the attack speed bug in that case, or at least one that has attack speed on it, so you can use that one to bug the other one. But in this case, we're going to use the attack speed on the Lacerator, which is fun. So anyway, we just flew through that map, utterly destroyed. He just culls the wheat, man. Just fields of wheat, just cutting them out. It's utterly devastating, this build. And like I said, I don't even have the craziest tier, so I'd like to emphasize this, that this is a demo where my gear is just passable, it's good, kinda decent, and it's just insanely strong. So if you get a crazy craft that hits up to like 600 damage, which is possible, you get better corruptions that get up to like 600 damage. Things you can do with those, man. That's all I gotta say. Let's continue to demo maps though, of course, so you guys can just see that this character is also, not only does he do an insane amount of damage, because he does physical damage and he has a reliable source of amp proc, he can shred any map. Doesn't matter what the map is. We're only going to demo like some of his very best maps, but he shreds them all. Does not matter. He doesn't really care. He's just that strong. Machine Gun Monk S, yeah man. Sure, for sure. Darth Zombie, thank you so much. Kama Hurry, thank you so much for the follows. Welcome to the Cult of Xanadr's Day. Alright, here we go. Proc 'em. Once again, I can replace this here. Myself a little bit of added power if I really want to. And yo. One thing to note is that whenever you swap your weapons, like when you go to your weapons swap, it'll actually swap the order of them, so make sure to put it back on there. My aura, go! Yeah, it's not working. Alright, there we go. Okay. Yeah, you gotta go a little slow in the beginning so the Mercenary procs his Might Aura. Alright. And machine gun time! We are the heavy weapons guy from Team Fortress 2. It's wah! Wah! Cry some more! Yeah, cows is a bit more wide open. We're actually not going to demo the cows on this character. We do that on most of the builds. I'm sure he's fine in there. I'm sure he destroys the cows, but... which is always fun to show, but... in this case... show off these maps with the narrow quarters. Just show off what he does to them. It's just crazy levels of damage. We could also try out this Demon Arc here. The Demon Arc we could also do. Place the Lacerator. Demon Arc has a lot of elemental damage, so you could like put a Gimmer Shred or a Demon Arc on there. And serve a similar purpose. Oh, Falrin. Oh yeah, D2 Pilot. What's up, Brave Turtle? How you doing? Mamma mia! Yeah, that's a proper remote for this for sure. Mamma mia! All right. It just lights out, man. Hordes of monsters, no problem. And see, the best part is I can use Frenzy. See, I can just launch them like this. I can even, like, kite them out. Looks even more insane when I play it like this, kind of. I can just, like, move with it. I can do some orb walking with it. You guys are familiar with the term orb walking. I'm using, like, a attack damage carry in some of those MOBAs. Yeah, he don't even care, man. He don't even care. Frenzy makes it easier. Charge up the Frenzy a bit. It's just broken, man. Yeah, 11k is definitely something, but like... as crazy as this looks, it could be crazier. I wish I had that crazy gear to show you guys, but I wasn't able to acquire it. We were focusing on just way too many other builds, so that's okay. As you can see, it doesn't matter much when it comes to solo mapping. Really wouldn't make a big difference. Monsters are already getting one-shotted in most cases, and if not, at least two-shotted. He plows them! He plows through them. I agree. Honestly, like, probably the most intimidating thing about this build is how much you hear the amping proc when you're using the Lacerator. The sound is constant. The Tri-Auras and amplify damage. It's like mowing the lawn. Mowing the lawn, baby. Yeah, you could even like use Frenzy to like get your attack speed up. Death by flying projectiles. I wouldn't wish this kind of fate on any monster. It is just brutal. Ooh, add T-strokes? 4 skill during the guide, and of course a height corruption, right? Right? Gotta do it. Or, you know, nice brick. That works too. Of course. GG. Good job, game. Ah! 4 skill at T-strokes. And destroyed. That works. That's pretty sick, actually, but unfortunately, down the drain. Just like our Death's Fathom yesterday. Oof. Well, you know, movies that are made based on video games or gaming concepts don't tend to do well in general. I don't know, guys. What is an example of a good movie in your mind that is made based off of a video game? I don't know. I don't know many off the top of my head. Oh, it's a game? Really? Oh, that one. Oh, yeah, you said that. It's an ARPG. Wow, it's rated that bad? Holy crap. Is it only rated that bad, though, because of the bugs, or is it just that bad in general? Resident Evil 1. Okay, that one was okay, yeah. I don't know. There's a lot of bad video game movies out there, though. Same thing happens, by the way, when they try to make video games based off of movies, typically. Good examples are like making video games based off of like a movie, like a comic, like Superman. Tends to be pretty mediocre. Unless they, you know, go a bit farther with the concept and do something original with it, like, you know, create some kind of fighting game. Doesn't tend to work out. Ooh. Batman games are pretty cool. Arkham Asylum, maybe. I don't know. The Batman games are okay. Super Mario Brothers movies? Okay, yeah. Except Jar Zombie, I hate him. Warcraft movie was okay? Okay. Yeah, it's putting it generously, I guess. Maybe I'm just a harsh critic, I don't know. I think what it comes down to is they sell the movies to the fans of the fan base anyway. They're not really looking for anything that's like insane usually. But if you were coming out from the outside on those movies, you'd be like, it's a pretty mediocre movie. Wait, I can swap. That's not broken at all. Look at this AR. Baby. Throw Barb, hell yes, dude. Yeah, it's up drop stereo. Dude, this is one of the more ridiculous builds I've played this season, and I know I'm only gonna give it one solid stream here, but let me tell you, this build's pretty ridiculous. It's got a crazy power level in it. Dungeon Siege? Did that have a decent movie? I don't know, I haven't seen some of these. Well, you guys definitely know a bunch of like good ones for sure. What do you guys think about Sonic movies? Sonic the Hedgehog. Look at this, look at this, look at this. That is disgusting. What? Oh my god. Oh, this build. Oh no, man. I'd be careful when you go into melee range. I don't have as much DR as I could have for sure. You know. The DBZ movie. I like the Brawly one. Some of the DBZ movies are actually decent. But see, they're made in the same... A lot of those anime movies are made in the same, like, likeness of the movie. Like, I think what's even worse, though, than converting, like, some, like, video games to movies or vice versa, in a lot of cases, is, like, converting, like, an animated series or a movie into a live-action movie. That's a... I think that's where the real problems start occurring. I think for me the biggest example is Death Note. Like, they turn it into something that's really cool, and they make it really cringy. Yeah, live action Death Note. And they've done it multiple times. Multiple times. Oh no, I know. Like, when I watched Death Note and it was like that, it was totally a comedy. Like, that's what it was. So we've almost eviscerated the whole map. Not quite. I think we still have some map. Avatar the Airbender. Right, so live action, from animated to live action, is definitely something where they struggle even more so, I'd say, than the video game to movie and vice versa conversions. Those can be okay, you know. They can be passable in a lot of cases. In some cases, they can even be good, but I don't know. The other ones, I don't know what the producers were smoking. I don't know. I think the problem is that animation can just do so much more. And when, like, you try to live act something that's been created like that, you have to compare it to the animation. I don't know. It's just so tough. It's so rough. It's so rough. Ooh, okay. Alright, so I'd argue this is maybe one of his best tier 2s. Fledgathon's definitely up there. Doesn't really matter what he's up against, though. I mean, the ranking of the maps isn't super important on this build. He will shred whatever. 100%. Right, exactly. Like, the expressions get lost, the emotion, the effects, a lot of things just get lost. It ends up being kind of blah.
Impossible.
I don't know if that's a commentary on, like, how non-animated anything is in general, but when you compare it to something that you know what it's based on, I guess it's clear as day, right? I don't know. Hard to say. Burn it, baby, burn it. Right, right. I think that's what it is, Vage, for sure. But it doesn't stop them from trying to make live action versions of these things. I mean, they sell, so, you know, they're fun. Even if they get poor ratings. A Diablo live action movie? No, we really don't want that. They might be able to do decent with like a Diablo movie. But yeah. Not like a Diablo live action movie. I was killing things like off the screen. Jesus. Oh, Rune. Oh god, no. 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 Oh. Almost cut down the hordes. Hordes of Narnia. Almost defeated Kappa. Okay. We can still go around here. Rampage, yeah. Going on a rampage. Alright, here we go. Dead or alive? I don't even know that one. Yeah, he's so broken, dude. It's so broken. Dude, I cut through that in like 17 minutes. This is insane. I was kind of slowing down a bit.
Yes.
It's such a big map too. This build really makes it kind of look like a joke. Let's throw these back away. We don't really need to demo that anymore. Alright. Can do 2 tier 3s as well. River of Blood and Throne of Insanity are probably best displays of his power because they're like narrow areas. River of Blood has some physical resistance, but you guys might see it doesn't matter much. Especially once you have Lacerator, like it's pretty easy to cut it down. This is why I like the Lacerator Wraithflight. I feel like this provides the best balance. Unless you have like crazy corruption with attack speed on a Wraithflight, it's gonna be pretty rough with this. Yeah. Do plenty of damage. You didn't make a Throw Barb? Yeah, so this is the first time I made a Throw Barb in Season 1 or Season 2. I knew about it, how ridiculous it was, for the Season 2 beta. And, yeah, it was pretty ridiculous. Well, suffice it to say. Suffice it to say that it was pretty bonkers. Absolutely bonkers. Bonkers. Alright. Let's go. Alright, so we have River of Blood. Let's start with the one that maybe he's not quite as strong at. It's probably not going to matter much, though. I mean, it's, realistically speaking. My Mercenary, give me my damage. Boost it, baby. Alright, let's try and Thresher. Well, we're not gonna pick it up, but it was early on in the season, definitely. Woo! Right. He fixed the AR issue with the bounces, so because it got its bounces and it was calculating them correctly. Yeah. Ooh, does anyone still want train gloves? I think someone said they wanted to be train gloves. Look at this. Just sit here. Because I'm life leeching off of every single monster too. I think that's one of the main problems. I don't know if it's just the damage, because the fact they were able to life leech off of every monster when it bounces is just ridiculous. Like, look at that, it's just one monster. And then when I hit him, when I'm like hitting all the monsters, I literally can't die unless I get one shot. I literally can't die. It's literally impossible. So yeah. Alright, there we go. We got our damage. So yeah, it's ridiculous. Spirit's dead, yeah, I saw it. Gotta start working some more, honestly. Got all these points in a fine item, man. Being pretty lazy with it. Come here. Did you make a throw barb on your grill sky? Real question. Real talk. Look, I can hork these. I can just hork all day too. Test it a bit. You decide it was too broken to play. Or you're just disgusted by it. Oh, you bricked both your wisps. Oh, yeah. Well, no wisp projector definitely hurts it a little bit, I guess. Kind of, I mean, if any one of my one auras are missing, it's not the end of the world. If I'm missing fanaticism, though, you can definitely tell. I'm just gonna run in here like this. Orb walking, you know, straight in there. Just run in like a maniac. Why not? I've got God mode on. It's like I got the power star. Dun 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 dun. Look at this. And then if I use battle cry on him, Even if something has a ton of physical resistance, bye-bye. That's 1 point battle cry too. I mean, you can make that stronger if you want to. But I don't even know if it's necessary, really. Most of the time you're ranging like I mentioned before. And this doesn't actually happen, so... Of course, when there's auras, you can be a little more cautious. Maybe... I don't know if that... Ooh! Oh man, I felt that, man. I feel bad. I'm sorry I haven't asked, dude. That was cruel. I have Might and Fanaticism. What's up, Proximity? How you doing? I must say that if he retains even some of this power, it is going to be madness! Okay. See, it's okay though. Configure controls. You just have to, if you left click those key binds, you can press the key of the bind you want for whatever skill number or whatever. And then you can bind it to that skill. You have to go to your configure controls. The Forte, how you doing? One can say that binding to hotkeys that are not F keys is not your forte. Oh, that's a different spelling though. Well, it is now. Big facts. Well, it is now, man. It is now. I couldn't resist that joke. Oof. Saw it. I was going for it. You can play this build pretty much one-handed. I'm not even gonna click the keyboard for a while here. Yeah. Right now I am not using the keyboard. This is how absurd this build is. I don't need to. Let's use my mouse. So if you guys have don't have a keyboard or are using a tablet or something, or maybe this is a good build. Also, if you have a loop filter, you don't even need to press Alt, you know, and just let it do the work for you. The Barb is unstoppable. He is completely unstoppable. I use the keyboard there to check my character stats. I cheated. Alright, here we go. Holy crap! Wow! See, I wasn't using the keyboard there on purpose still. Maybe I should start using the keyboard again. But as you can see, you know, who needs the Mercenary either, you know, that's also optional, so it doesn't matter. So even though this isn't even a max power build, you don't even need half this amount of power. I mean, it helps. You can definitely see the difference, you know, there are differences, but I don't know, as absurd as it already is. I think it's fine though. What do you use on your Merc? Beast, my man. Beast. Yes, this is exclamation PD2. If you want to learn more about it, type exclamation PD2 or PD2 changes in the chat. Remember, moderators or anyone else in the chat, if someone is asking a question about what we're doing, You can always direct them to the appropriate command. Of course, if you're lazy or you're doing something, that's fine too. But can if you want. We have commands for everything, so inform the unwashed masses. Ooh. Yes. So we gunned down the boss. We gunned down all the bosses. Gunned down all the monsters. We can melee mode them. We can kite them like this, like orb walking them. It's a little more dangerous for the spirit if we do that, but for the most part, it's pretty solid. And since we fire so quickly, we fire so many weapons, it doesn't actually matter. It's maybe not quite as absurd as a trap sin, but against bosses, it's more absurd, so I don't know. It's hard to gauge the power of this build. What I can say for sure, though, is it's broken. So after this map, I'm actually going to test the, I'm going to show off this one here, the Demon Arc, once we do the other map. I'm also trying to go fast, so I guess I'll skip out on some of the elites. It's fine. Auras. Can't work that one. Well, I don't care about auras very much because I'm life leeching constantly. So unless they can one-shot me. I just use all the skills, you know. Why not? Whew. Jesus. Oh, I remember demoing this in the beta and people thought it's pretty insane. But some people were trying to tell me this build wasn't very strong because I don't think they wanted me to get it nerfed. I remember testing it after they fixed the bug though. I was like, Yeah, so just for reference there, I died because I wasn't using the Merc died because I wasn't using the keyboard.
I'll be your best friend in this forsaken.
But even with that, it still took 14 minutes about. And if I wasn't messing around and not using the keyboard like that, it would have been 12 minutes in River of Blood. Flattens this map. Flattens! That is among the fastest times you can do with this. And like I said, you could have even stronger weapons. So you can see that this build is a little broken, and in Tier 3 map is no exception. So yeah, we utterly flatten this map. Flatten it to smithereens, if that's a thing. It's not a bad one. Ooh. Very good. We definitely bricked a much better item earlier, though. That F4 skill T-strokes getting bricked was a classic. Alright, here we go. Classic bricks, baby. Alright, so... And what we can do... Alright, let's go demo the last map we're going to want to demo today. Gonna demo this, and then of course we're gonna continue playing afterwards, Twitch chat and YouTube. We will be done with the demo, done with the mini guide. Hope you guys learned all about his best maps. Of course, we'll post his best maps below in the description and in the first comment as well. Bind Rejuve Pot to the brake wheel. Good to go. Use a steering wheel controller. You probably could. You probably could almost. What's going to be your first build come Season 3? I don't know until we have patch notes, but it's probably going to be a sorceress. Taiwan, thank you so much for the follow. Welcome to the cult of Xana and Thursday. I wouldn't worry about that at all. Wouldn't worry about that at all. Hey. Prime. What's that command? Heck. What the heck is that command? I know. Let's slam this one. Alright. Well. Okay, I guess not. Those will all die today. Every single one. Dude, we've bricked almost everything. Alright. Just brick all the items. We don't need any. It's okay. It's the end of the season anyway. Just brick them all. Also, insurance can brick them for fun. Barb, Throw Barb, yeah. What's up, Blasto? What's up, dude? Look at this monstrosity. Alright, so I'm going to show off the final map, which has not a lot of physical res, Throne of Insanity. So we're going to tear this map shreds. It's got almost 200% density. I consider it probably one of his best maps, if not his best map, because of how quick he can shred through it as a tier 3 as well, to boot. Of course, he can shred through other maps that we're not going to be showing off in this demo here, including Blood Moon. I will show those, of course, to Twitch chat, though. They'll get to see that one. Anyway. Disgusting damage. Utterly disgusting. And it is time now to conclude this final guide of some kind for season 2. Next time you will see a Project Diablo 2 video will most likely be for the tier list for season 3. Check that out after. Yes. What do you say is the best way to get rich in this game fast? Farming. In the beginning, farming bosses is always a solid strategy because those base items are really, really strong. Just farming like Indariel and Mephisto and Travancore and things like that. And clickables. Once you get strong enough, though, it's always farming high-density maps on a character that's capable of clearing them, at least for the most part. It's a good question from the chat asking about how to go from rags to riches in Project Diablo 2. If you want to learn how to go from rags to riches for D2R, though, I recommend my video. Exclamation LOD R2R in the chat as an 11-hour guide where we go over different approaches and we eventually go towards the best approaches, and you can see the differences and you can see what to do. You're going from rags to riches. Diablo 2. Alright. Here we go. So, let's see if we can get him to proc his... Well, we still don't have a lot of DR, so I want to be a little careful there. Look at that, though. It doesn't matter. See, there isn't a lot to fear. See, our best defense is a good offense on this character because he is a juggernaut. You watched way too many Rambo movies, you know. He's got Tommy guns up in here. He don't care about nothing. And now we just got our Might Aura, so... Bye-bye, monsters. Bye-bye, monsters. This map can be a little dangerous and hardcore, though. But, you know, so can River Blood. Make sure you just don't get one shot, and you're pretty much good. You definitely die in a Throw Barb, it's just... Well... Just gotta make some positioning errors, basically. Or, like me, you can have, like, no DR, and you can risk it for the biscuit. All the days. Wow. See, like, the dangerous monsters die off screen on this, so, like... monsters don't really have a reasonable expectation of being able to kill you. They can kill you, of course. Lots of pretty dangerous monsters we're encountering right now, but... Hit a monster. Okay, there we go. As we hit a monster, we're fine. Woo! Yeah, they have some of the monsters in here have like decent physical res. I mean, you also saw that with River of Blood, but it didn't slow me down at all. Especially not with the Lacerator approach. Oh my god. That is actually a little scary, but since we're from range, it's not too bad. Dang, the auras in here have been pretty nuts. Feels like we're up against the auras constantly in here. There's another aura. Whew. Hot in here. Definitely hot. The hot throne of insanity. So I can even like cast Valor Cry on anything that has even more physical resistance. Whew. How many hours does it take you to have as much things as I have? A lot. I mean all the crazy builds we have on our PD2? A lot. About to be a massacre in here. It is a massacre. Alright, so now what we're gonna do... I'm gonna switch gears slightly here. See what happens if I take off the High Lords. Put on this. Can we get away with that? Okay, yeah, we can get away with it. And if I put Atmas just to have some source of amp, like, I could do this. There we go. Let's go messing around with this here. No reason why I can't do this particularly. Now, oops. All right, here we go. You can see though, with Atmas, I'm still proccing a decent amount. This is why I suggested it in the here earlier. You could run Atmas, and then you can use like Wraith Flight and like F Demon Arc. Pretty strong damage. My double throw damage is now pretty comparable, actually. Both of my weapons now are doing solid damage. And we're still fast because Demon Arc at least gives us the weapon speed bug because it's 30 attack speed. As long as we, you know, put them in the correct order. Yeah, you gotta move them. There you go. I only have 6 light res like this though. Huh. Interesting. You can argue that I'm actually stronger now for the most part, but it's kind of hard to tell. Not as many amp procs. And... but whatever it is though, I can just gun him down. This is a better approach for me because of my current gear setup than double Wraith Flight, but I can definitely make that work too. No matter what it is though, and now we even have some extra elemental damage too because I'm using a Demon Arc. Demon Arc does a lot of damage if it's ethereal. Has some decent ED on it too. Of course, we don't have Deadly Strike, but it does a lot more damage than a Lacerator, but it also means Amp is less consistent somewhat. Minimum, yes, a minimum of 48 Kappa. Good damage, dude. Okay. We got the slower weapon equipped on the left, but we have the faster weapon on top. Gunner mode, man. Gunner mode. Cry some more. Cry some more, babies. Poor monsters. You know, they really tried to kill me in this map, too. They had, like, my aura stacked on fanaticism aura, stacked more my aura on more fanaticism aura. It just doesn't seem to matter, really. They're gonna have to run up on me a little bit faster. Might be able to succeed next time. Who knows? Ooh. Oh, that's kind of cool. Yeah, none of my stuff is strength or dex bugged. None of it is. I just realized we are blocking. Right now we're still using the Balrog Spear. I don't know, it feels like the last raider might be a little faster, but it's hard to tell. It's hard to tell because this build is so ridiculous. The skill is just ridiculous in general. Not really the build, I'd say it's the skill. Look at that! Wow! Oh, he almost dropped Ming Sun Listen. Almost. Almost, baby. Almost. Oh, baby. Let's charge up our frenzy on him there. Okay. Charge that, baby.
I am overburdened.
Just fork him all. He just fell for it. Again. Wow. They're gonna cut me down? They're gonna cut me down. No, they did not. I think they're leaving a lot of the nerfs out of the conversation until probably when the beta is released, which makes sense. Nerfs aren't usually good for like hype streams, to be fair. Nerfs have to happen, but you know, if they want to continue to improve the game and make more builds viable and attractive, they have to nerf. So. This build is no exception. Yeah, this is an F Demon Arc plus Wraith Flight, so we can have all the fun we want on this. Hey! Get off of me. That should be nice, yeah. Should. Curious to see how ridiculous these rares and blue items are in general. It's definitely gonna change how a lot of people are like mentally wired, so. It's gonna change a lot. Superior Dust Shroud. Huh. Not 15% though. Oh! Oh, dang it. This. Come on, man. I'm a ranged build. The fact that a ranged build doesn't give a crap about going in a melee mode is interesting. I mean, I guess my Boson to an extent also can do this, but like, there's a little bit more risk with that, at least potentially. You have too much life leech though. Every weapon bounce is like rocking it. Every single one. Yep, he did improve a lot of the rare items. Yep, I saw, and all those, in my opinion, are good changes. You want to make those items at least potentially viable. Making more items viable, I don't think is a bad thing. Because there's more ways to play the game, potentially. It's a pretty solid jewel. I gotta say, because rare jewels can get 40 ED, that potentially makes Ohm runes slightly less attractive in some scenarios. Not all scenarios, but some scenarios. So that could be interesting. Maybe it's not just gonna be an Ohm rune fest in weapons anymore. But it might still be. Ohms are the only thing that can give 50% ED, so. Oh no. Oh yeah? What do you want changed about those? So yeah, I can use Atma's. I don't have as much Deadly Strike though with this approach too though, but yeah, I could use Atma's. Use High Lords. You really can't see much of a difference, but it's build's pretty monstrous. I'm gonna finish out this map with the Demon Arc. Well, actually, I might switch it back so we can see the difference again. Let me see here. Okay. Yeah, I think because the Deadly Strike is a lot higher with the other weapon. Yeah. I think I'm just doing more damage right now with the last Raider Wraith Flight setup more than anything. How about that weapon speed bug? Oof! Okay. Oh. Wow, dude. MF, huh? You think there should be more variability? They already make Oculus roll skills. Already rolls res. I don't know. I think too much variability when you already have to slam items becomes a little bit of a drawback to some things.
I am overburdened.
It's so much attack speed. That is the correct command, Zakhot. Just no 2 exclamation points, I guess. Rip. Oh, there was the. You would think my mercenary would get destroyed by some things like this, but he can't because I killed him too fast. Which is why you can almost just like not worry about survivability on the mercenary too much too. I mean, you can get some whatchamacallits. You can get some life leech, that's about it, but besides that I don't need much. Look at these auras that were over here, jeez. Team had it out for me. Not that it matters though. Alright. There you have it. Another insanely fast Throne of Insanity. It's all on the screen, buddy. Maxed out at 11k, so it's not like it's an insane amount. I think I've seen people get throw barbs like way higher than this, but to be honest, for solo play it wouldn't matter much. Like for group play, yeah, it would of course, but you can always get crazier weapons, I suppose, right? Crazier weapons. It's definitely hard to not feel like a god on a Throw Barbarian. This is a crazy S tier build. We will be putting, of course, his map rankings in the first pinned comment and description below. If you're watching this on YouTube, and yeah, of course, the next video you'll see from us on PD2 is the tier list. Yes, the tier video describing the skills and how they're functioning, and kind of going over where the builds are at like somewhere between like weaker to super strong build gear. Mainly testing the changes, of course, that are going to be coming through here, and we're going to see how those affect the build, since we kind of know where a lot of the builds are already at for Season 2, because we did so much testing in the last beta and this season as well. And in Season 1, to a degree, but we retested all that stuff anyway, so it's looking pretty stellar overall. GG. GG everyone. Hope you guys enjoyed this build. Be sure to like and subscribe if you want to see videos like this in the future. Build guides. We do all kinds of build guides for both LOD and Project Diablo 2, as we are interested in both of them. So you'll be seeing a lot of that content from us in the future as well. You can always catch me, of course, at www.twitch.tv/darkhumility as well if you want live Diablo 2 content 6 to 7 days a week. You got him down. This is the first time I've played Throw Barb outside of a beta on the live servers, so it was nice to kind of go over this stuff, go over the mechanics of the build, and play a very strong version of this build on hardcore, but still nothing even close to what this build could do with the even stronger weapons. So let your imagination run free, destroy the game with this character while you still can. In Season 3, I imagine this build will still be strong, but we won't know for sure. So without further ado, this wraps it up for this crazy solid S tier, broken, overpowered machine gun barbarian, throw barbarian, and I will make sure to see you guys next time for our tier list for PD2 and for installments of our Lord of Destruction guides before D2 are finished. I will see you guys. Peace out. Dark Humility over and out. Let's get it.